Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Chizzle, and I am back with another video. And in today's video, we will be reacting to 12 people who were raised by animals. But before we get into it, make sure y'all hit that like button and that subscribe button, please. And thank you if you guys do. And hit that notification button as well if y'all want to see more videos like this in the future.
Feral animals are completely normal, but you rarely hear of feral children. These are children who grew up isolated from human contact and were sometimes supported by animals. They often appear in myths and legends, but they also exist in real life. Helping humans like that might be expected from certain animals, such as dogs, but there are also species that have fought for survival with us in the past or usually avoid us at all costs. Here are 12 children who lived with wild animals. Sidi Mohammed, also known as the Ostrich Boy. Back in 1945, he told the story of how he ran away from home in North Africa at the age of
1945. That was like before the Great Depression.
6 and found an ostrich nest. He saw the little birds hatching and immediately became friends with them and their parents. He said that the ostriches taught him to run fast and offered him shelter in their nest. They even put a wing over him at night. According to his own statement, he mainly fed on grass during the time. At the age of 12, a few ostrich hunters found him and brought him back to his parents. Still, he always wanted to live with his ostrich family again. He later got married, had children, and lived a relatively normal life. Ivan Mishukov. Ivan was born in 1982 and lived with a pack of dogs from the age of 4 to 6 years. He ran away from home because of his alcoholic mother and her abusive boyfriend. The boy gained the trust of the dogs by bringing them food, and in return, they protected him. After a while,
Man, I just gotta say, you have to be a good influence to your child. If you have your mom who's alcoholic and your kind of stepdad, because that's her boyfriend, that's abusive, that's not good.
Ivan even became the leader of the pack. Basically, the 6-year-old Ivan turned out to be the alpha dog one day. The police caught him several times, but somehow he managed to escape again and again, until he was caught one last time when they set him a food trap. However, it wasn't possible to explain to him that he was better off with people than with dogs because, unlike his family, the animals had always shown him a lot of love and appreciation. After having returned to a normal life, Ivan relearned Russian in a military academy and later joined the army. Dog Boy. This boy was abandoned by his 16-year-old mother and was living in the system for a while. When he was 10 or 11 years old, he joined a group of dogs that lived in a cave near the harbor. The young Chilean became a part of their pack and even drank milk from the dog's mother. Together, they searched for food.
Wait. Hold on. What?
He joined a group of dogs that lived in a cave near the harbor. The young Chilean became a part of their pack and even drank milk from the dog's mother.
Is that right? So, you're a human and can drink dog milk? Like, that doesn't give you a disease or anything?
Together, they searched for food, especially in nearby garbage cans. When the police finally found the boy, he desperately tried to run away and jumped into the water, but a policeman jumped in after him and caught him. Dog Boy barked at the people, was very aggressive, and showed no signs of human communication. However, a little later, it turned out that he understood he was human and even spoke a little Spanish. Still, he wanted to go back to his dog pack. Ramachandra.
Yo, that's a dog. No, that has to be fake. Cause I've seen pictures similar to that where they have a human combined with the animal. How does that happen? You were a
Another
human
tragic
animal.
case of a feral child is that of this young Indian who was born around 1969. At the age of 12, he lived the life of an amphibian in the Quano River. In 1979, he was found and brought to a nearby village. However, Ramachandra never really got used to the civilized life. He continued to eat raw food, had an awkward walk, and spent most of his time in rivers and streams. He died in 1982 after getting sexually aroused and trying to seduce a woman who was afraid and poured hot water over him. He allegedly still behaved like a wild animal and probably didn't understand that there are certain boundaries you can't overstep among people. Saturday Mithiane. This boy was found at the age of 5 after living with
like 1969 to 1982. That's only like 20-something years.
monkeys in South Africa for about a year. That was back in 1987. However, in 2005, when he turned 17, he was still acting like a monkey. He didn't speak, refused to eat cooked food, never played with other children, and even walked like a monkey.
Or whatever that
Maybe it would have been better if
where
Saturday
he's a
had
man
stayed with his
living
animal
with
family
animals.
in this case, because he just didn't seem happy among people. Marina Chapman. Marina Chapman is one of the best-known children who grew up with wild animals because she also wrote a book about her experience. She had actually lived a normal life until she was kidnapped at the age of 4, possibly to demand a ransom. But for some reason, she was simply left behind in the Colombian jungle. Luckily, Marina was adopted by a group of capuchin monkeys, which are known to take in human children. They taught the girl how to catch birds and rabbits with her bare hands. This way, she managed to survive for 5 years until she was eventually found by a few hunters who sold her to a brothel. Fortunately, she escaped and was eventually able to publish her story after many more.
So at this point, you're basically like being tossed around as you were a human. So you're like a slave animal at this point, because you're just getting tossed around. You got kidnapped, now you're getting sold.
More hardships and adventures. Lyoka, the Wolf Boy. This was a really mysterious case. In December 2017, the Russian authorities captured a boy who had lived with wolves. He looked like he was about 10 years old, but could also have been a lot older. A few villagers had found him in a wolf den in freezing temperatures not far from Moscow. The boy was then showered and his nails were cut. However, he escaped from the facility within the same day.
That's not right.
Since then, the mysterious wolf boy was never heard from again. Chaidi. This woman has definitely spent a lot of time with wild animals. At the age of only 4 years, she got lost in the jungle, and only in 2012, 38 years later, was—
Bro, what? Bro, where is your dad? Where's your mom? Where's your auntie? All these little kids are getting lost in the woods, in the wild. You should be monitored by your parents.
she heard from again. There had been rumors of a young girl living in the jungle for quite some time, but they were always dismissed as blather. Before the jungle adventure, she was last seen near the Myanmar border. Eventually, she was found completely naked in a cemetery. What is really extraordinary is how normal the woman behaves, even though she has spent almost her entire life in the jungle. She can talk a little, is constantly learning new words, and, unlike most other feral children, she isn't afraid of humans. Andrei Tolstik. This child was born with an impaired hearing and speech problems. And that was reason enough for his parents to abandon him in a remote area in Siberia near Lake Baikal.
These parents need to get sued. You were abandoning your child by himself because of disease that he had. What's the point of even having a child? If your child has a disease, you were supposed to still stick with that child and help the child out. So you're just going to abandon your child.
Fortunately, the little one was adopted by a dog that taught him to survive. For 7 years, Andrei spent his entire life with the dog, until he was found by a few workers. Tolstik had strong teeth and smelled his food before eating just like a dog does. He also walked on all fours. It only took him a few weeks to start walking on 2 legs again, but he was still very afraid of people. Baby Hospital. A girl got this strange name from an Italian missionary who found her in Sierra Leone. Not much is known except that the 7-year-old child was raised by primates. She couldn't walk upright and instead crawled like a monkey. She also ate straight from the bowl with her hands and had great problems integrating into society. As if that wasn't enough, she was also very sad and spent most of her time crying. Maybe it would have been better if the girl had stayed with the monkeys in this case as well, mainly because she was so incredibly sad among people. Marcos Rodriguez Pantoja. This child was sold to a goat shepherd when he was 7 years old.
Depressed.
However, shortly afterwards, he was abandoned in the mountains. He actually liked the loneliness there, which is hardly surprising considering the beatings he had received from his stepmother. Marcos eventually developed a close relationship with different animals, but especially with the wolves. One day he found a cave with a few wolf cubs. He played with them and then fell asleep. When the mother of the wolves returned, she gave a piece of meat to Marcos after feeding her own children. Initially, the boy was afraid she would bite him, but instead she licked him and he became a part of the family. Bit by bit, growling and howling replaced his words, and he started to feel really comfortable with the animals. It wasn't until 12 years later that he was discovered at the age of 19. According to Marcos, coming back to society was the scariest moment in his entire life. He is now 68 years old and has gotten used to a normal life again. The 1-year-old boy. In 2008, the police in Argentina found a little boy who was only 1 year old. He was surrounded
1 year old, not even an S. 1 year. These parents are horrible parents. You are horrible parents.
Surrounded by 8 feral cats. As the police got closer,
or whoever's supposed to be watching them are horrible parents.
They noticed that the cats were becoming aggressive.
Or guardians.
As it turned out, they had protected the toddler for the past few days. They had even brought him food scraps and laid down on him like a living blanket at night. If they hadn't helped him, the small child would not have survived. The boy's homeless father said that he lost sight of his son when he was about to collect boxes to sell, and that the cats had always liked him. The fact that cats have actually cared for a stranger is likely to surprise some of you, because they're usually considered pretty self-involved animals.
Keep on looking at him every
It's definitely sweet to see how altruistic they can be as well. Sasha T. In 2012, social workers found a 2-year-old child who was kept in a room with goats. This happened in Rostov region, Russia. He played and slept together with the goats who lived in the same room. His mother has now been deprived of her maternal rights, but she was already gone when the boy was discovered. The children's doctor said he refused to sleep in the cot. He tried to get underneath and sleep there. He was very scared of adults. The little boy did not learn to speak, and he also refused to play with toys. Hopefully, he can one day live a normal life. Those were some really interesting cases, and it's not the only children who grew up with animals or only survived thanks to their help. I might show you some more of these cases in another video in the future. If you had to choose animal parents, which species would you prefer? Wolves, goats, dogs, monkeys, or maybe something else? Which animals do you think would make the best parents? Vote and write your answer in the comments.
Well, that is the end of the video. All I have to say, these parents are terrible for losing sight of their child to the point where they were raised by animals. And on top of that, a couple of the people abandoned their child. You are abandoning your child. You are terrible parents. But if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button with plus notifications on if y'all want to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you guys for watching, and go check out my previous videos. And it's your boy Chizzle, and I'm out. Peace.